How is it that I thought I only need what's essential, yet I build things again? I have more things than I thought I would need.
Welcome to Midlife with Orchid. Let's explore the nuance and the courageous moments of midlife. Let's share stories, reflection, insight, and conversation over coffee, where life's rhythms, revelations, and everyday courage can be witnessed and honored. This is Orchid, your host and storyteller.
Almost 8 years ago now, I've had an abrupt change that forced me to let go of things I have I have learned to attach myself to, I guess, but I have become independent probably for the first time. I had my first apartment. I was not in a relationship at the time. I actually came out of. I don't know why I don't quite like how that sounds, but anyway, the relationship I was in for 7 years had ended, and then eventually I was able to get my own apartment, and I was living in this apartment for almost 5 years, or actually a full 5 years, and then I've had to make that abrupt change, which is about almost 8 years ago now. The change felt abrupt because I did not think that me becoming independent, establishing myself, it was a good career, good apartment that I was been independent for a good 5 years, was gonna end up having to be reduced to a suitcase, a backpack, and then living in the car for a couple of years. This was about 8 years ago now. It was abrupt, although I chose it. I got married, I fell in love, and what made sense to me is that I wanted to be with this person. And there's no question what it is kind of lifestyle they were used to. I was willing to leave what I had established for myself and just no plan, go wherever they are going. And that it ended, and then having to return to the city, the place where I had established myself, but I have already gotten rid of everything that I've known. I've had to start over. I was stripped down to just me, the suitcase and the backpack that I had brought with me, my car, and having to rebuild slowly but surely. That was 8 years ago. Fast forward 5 years in to having to reestablish myself. I truly have reestablished myself. I got my new apartment just a few months after getting back. I got a new job, which I stayed for about 5 years. And at the beginning of moving into the new apartment, I've learned so much to live minimalist that I was like, you know what? I didn't need this and that, and I actually only need what's essential. And then also, I was processing the trauma of having to let go of everything all at once. That at least at the first year, I only had bare minimum stuff in my apartment, but I was at peace with it. Also, processing trauma. I was like, I don't need a lot. I just need what I need, and I've been able to live in my car for a few months with just a suitcase and a backpack. And surely now that I have a home, a new apartment, I'll be okay. And then fast forward a couple years ago, I've had to move from that new apartment. I reestablished myself for 5 years. And it's almost like I was plagued again with, oh my gosh, I have to move and I have my stuff. How did I accumulate this? How is it that I thought I only need what's essential, yet I build things again? I have more things than I thought I would need. Nonetheless, I was able to get rid of what I think I don't need. But at the same time, I still have stuff that I thought I was going to have to put in a storage. But as most of you know in previous episode, an apartment, a new housing, came about just a month prior to me having to move out. And that apartment is where I am now, where I'm recording this podcast. It's been about a couple years now, but this time I'm having to move a lot sooner than previous pattern in the past. I'm using the word pattern. Okay. So here I am now. Yesterday, I am looking through my stuff. I figured I have to move in less than a month. I need to pack, but I don't want to pack too soon that it feels like I'm being rushed. I want to enjoy my time here. But at the same time, if I have to go through my stuff, and this time around, a friend of mine came through and just offered to support me with paying for my storage for the next 3 to 6 months. And I'm so grateful for that because I didn't have to get rid of my things. But I'm realizing that in letting go of what I've known as a structure of stability, being in this home, in this apartment for a couple of years, it's revealing to me the things that I've known 8 years ago. What do I really need? What is essential? Do I really need to keep all of these things? Do I need to let go of all of them? Or can I keep truly what is essential? So I'm going through my stuff and realizing, laughing with myself, how certainly I don't need this many mugs. I'm not even going to tell you how many. And I mean, do I really I used to drink instant coffee, and it came in this bottle that after you remove the labels and the coffee grounds is already not in there. I thought it was cute and sexy, and I'm like, I can make my drinks here. I can utilize this. And can I tell you that I have so many of that? Once again, I'm not even going to tell you the amount. And I'm like, surely I don't need all of this. And maybe I don't even need any of them. They don't need to go in the storage. I do have a storage my friend has helped me with, but surely it doesn't mean that everything has to go in there. I'm having to sit with my stuff emotionally, peacefully, part with what is going and I'm letting go, and appreciating that I have a storage that I can keep the essential. Not that everything has to have significant value and sentimental value to me, but keeping what it truly is essential. Somehow in the last 8 years, I've accumulated clothes and shoes again, and like I said, some mugs, and you name what else have I accumulated along the way. No, I'm not a hoarder, and I say that with gentleness, I hope, but I've seen them in reality TV, and I've seen some people that I've come across with who I perceive is like, wow, this is a lot of stuff. Is this even really necessary? I was talking to my best friend how we were joking around about it, how if you haven't opened a box and you have something that's you haven't seen in a long time, for the most part, that's probably not important. But I'm realizing yesterday that as I got rid of some things, I thought I already put something in a box that I'm going to toss out in the dumpster. I got to the dumpster, and as I'm throwing some of them out, it seems like I thought I already said I've decided this is gonna go. And when I got to the dumpster, there's some of them that I'm like, maybe I'm not gonna throw this out. And that's not necessarily that I'm not going to throw it out, but I think what I'm realizing is maybe we just need another day with it, and then it'll go the next day. Maybe today is when it's going to go, because yesterday it didn't go, even though I decided it was going to go. With all of the joking aside, I'm taking this transition as though uncertainty and letting go feels scary sometimes and painful, as if parts of me is being pulled out, or I'm being reduced to something, reframing when I'm ready, reframing my attachment, my mentality and thought process to the letting go. And I'm taking this as I'm benefiting from this transition, that I'm benefiting that I get to understand and realize what truly is essential and important for me, not just for this season, but in midlife. I don't want to get to the next place and just carry what I have here there. I truly want to have processed how I've lived my life in the last couple years, and then all that I've learned in the last 8 years with minimalist living, but also living what is essential, and taking that to the next stage of my journey one of the things I've learned 8 years ago is like how important it is to live lighter. But that might be attached to because I was traumatized having to throw away things that I've built. But truly, I don't have to throw away all of what I've learned there. I feel like the wisdom there, the pearl, is live lightly, but also I my desire is that the next phase I can settle. I would like to settle down. Most importantly, secure in myself that even when things are shifting, I am steady, I'm grounded. But I desire to definitely settle into the next phase, not with stuff, not because I don't want to let go of stuff, but settle that I have truly just what is essential for the next phase of my journey, the next stage, with wisdom and levity.